Hey, good morning, Grant. This is a quick demo video for you for your skinny flex right here, or your anti-flex. Got it all done this morning. This thing did present a few challenges because I didn't realize that it had been previously installed and then the guts ripped out. So the major challenge, there's two actually. One was this guy right here. The first guy to install this glued this in right here. This is an integral piece to get out, so that I can take this housing off and this housing off, and then this entire outside shell slides off. But I was not able to do that. So because I couldn't get into the blade socket, by that way, when I put your neopixel holder in there, which is it's about 2.5 inches down in there, so you've got plenty of blade depth. I actually had to use some JB weld to hold that holder in place where normally I would have drilled and tapped an 8/32 hole for a set screw to hold that. So that's held about 2.5 inches down, about right here or so. Very solid. Let it cure overnight. You're not going to have any problems there. I do have my own clamp switch set up for this guy that I design, and I usually 3D print, but you had one in there already that worked out pretty nice. So I just pulled the old switch out and totally redid all of the wiring and put my own switch and wiring in there. So now that has a nice tactile feel to it, where the other one was kind of tight. So brand new switch here. You had your original 89 Sabres PCB under this button right here for your activation. I was not able to get that out either because it was glued in place. So I did wire, I just soldered right to the contacts of the tactile switch right there. So everything worked out there. Just had to think outside of the box a little bit when trying to get this guy installed for you, but it worked out in the end. So obviously you're going to want to access it from here. Here's your chassis. So I do put my name on the side here, Solo Sabres. You do have a 28mm bass speaker. You have a removable battery system right here. So your spring, that's going to be your negative side. You're always going to want to put your board or your battery here, right? Your negative side on that spring. And then you got easy access to your board. Oh, everything is wired underneath this board except for the two pads for your negative neopixel lines that I jump here to distribute the amperage. But everything else is on the bottom. This board is backed up just enough to where you can get this card in and out without having to take this board out at all. So this board should never have to move. Pop this in and out very easily. So we're going to throw a battery in it.
How many times I told you?
Slide this on. It's a nice and snug fit. There's no rattling around, but you'll be able to get everything in there nice and easy. Just like that. There we go. Now, of course, this is your activation. Sounds really nice. Tap for blast or deflex. Hold down for blade lockup. And of course, we'll turn this off. This is going to be your blade retention screw right here. I'm not going to use it for the purpose of this video because this is a very tight, blade socket. But if you ever need to, that's going to be your blade retention. I have a 7/8 blade, which is what this takes. I've got a test blade. This is actually sanded down quite a bit already from previous 89 Sabres installs that I've done, but I had to sand it down some more. And actually that mark right there is where I was just telling myself how far down I needed to go to make contact with the pins, because originally it was pretty tight. So got this sanded down. When you get your 7/8 blade in from Bendu Armory or wherever you ordered it from, you're going to want to probably sand that guy down as well.
How many times I told you?
We're going to turn this off. Flash on flash. Like I said, tap for blast or deflex. Hold it down for blade lockup. Now to change color on this guy when the blade is on, you're going to want to hold down your auxiliary switch and twist your wrist.
Spectrum.
Now you can twist the hilt. Every time it clicks, it's a different color. So you can see all the colors it's cycling through. We're going to go back to a blue, and then just tap a button when you find a color you like. Just like that. So now turning that off and then back on, it's going to remember that color. Just like that. I gave you quite a few different blade effects on this as well. So you're going to want to hold down the auxiliary button and twist your wrist, but keep the button held down.
Spectrum.
Keep holding it.
Blade profiles.
Now you can twist the hilt again, and then also every time it clicks, it's a different blade effect. I'm just going to cycle through a couple of them here so you can see what's going on. Some are subtle, some not so subtle. But you got about, I think, 22 different ones on there to pick from. So we'll just find one that we like here and tap the button. So now, of course, when you turn that off and then back on, it will remember that blade effect and that blade color. You can see it on my shirt, kind of unstable a bit, right? I'll turn it off. When the blade is off, to get to your sound fonts, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to hold down the auxiliary button until you hear this.
Sound bank selection.
Now you can cycle up or down with either the auxiliary or the activation.
Exit menu. System menu. SD card audio play.
I gave you my Britney font on here, but I'm going to let you play with that at home.
Nightfall. This is General.
Youngling.
Revolve.
Remy.
Nebula.
Crystal focus.
When you find one you like, you can either hold down this button or the auxiliary button.
I will be the most powerful Jedi ever.
Now, some of the fonts that you're going to get that are aftermarket will have tracks. They'll have music tracks. So you just double click the activation. Actually, this one does not have it. This one doesn't have it, but a lot of the ones that you buy, it might load on here will. So you can double click the activation really fast, or you could hold it down for a second or two and then you'll hear it play. Either one of those work to turn it on and then also back off. But other than that, sir, I mean, that's your completed saber. Hope it came out the way you're expecting it to. It's a fun build, and I hope you enjoy it. Thanks.